Welcome to Oral Sessions, and we are talking all things WrestleMania Night 1. Okay, so let me just get to this really quickly. So last year, we start off WrestleMania having 2 nights back to back, and it's like, ooh, do we need that? I think we need 2 nights of WrestleMania.
I don't think we need 2 nights at all. It's exhausting.
It is, but like so I did not find watching tonight to be exhausting. Like I feel like it went by fairly quickly. I'm ready for tomorrow because if you didn't like it really when you look at who's going to main event, because Sasha and Bianca absolutely crushed it tonight.
Right.
We started to get a little bit nervous because we're like, wait, Drew McIntyre did not go over. And I expected Drew to go over tonight and win that WWE championship. And that was not the case. So I was like, please tell me they're not going to do this to us with Bianca as well. Please, for the love of. So thank God they didn't. But that leads me to tomorrow night. It's like tomorrow night, of course, it's got to be Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge as the other main event. Like it has to be. So I think having like the multiple main event moments, there is a bonus to that, I think.
I can see your point, but here's where I say. Now, if they spent like the entire calendar year from January till Mania season building up a really solid card of 7 to 8 matches, right? Literally concentrating and picking out the best of the best on the roster, wouldn't that be more beneficial to the storytelling of WrestleMania to make it feel even bigger? Because what I feel from WrestleMania now, right? And I've been watching wrestling, you've been watching wrestling for years. It has a pageantry to it, but it doesn't feel
Sure.
as special as when you watched it when you were a kid, right? I don't know why. Maybe it's a mixture of now of just the celebrities and the
No,
pomp
I
and
think it's the same
circumstance.
reason why like Christmas doesn't feel as cool as when you were
Yeah,
a kid. It's like that magic goes away and things change. It's I think it's just a time of our lives that we're in. I
right.
think. Is
I,
that does that apply to this scenario? I think so.
I think it does. I genuinely believe that. And now it just comes down to, do they want to do 2 nights? Because I knew New Japan Pro Wrestling has done 2 nights at the Dome back to back.
Sure.
So it's like, is that the new trend now? Do you want to try to get everybody on your roster some equal time? And if you do, what card is better? Will night 1 go down to be better? Does night 2 become
But
better?
then it also turns into like, what does that burnout start to look like for the fans? Because as we already know with WrestleMania week, it's like, okay, you go into NXT Takeover, into Hall of Fame, into WrestleMania, into the Monday after WrestleMania, back into another NXT. So like that alone can be a burnout. And just as we were watching it too, we were saying we're like, man, like because getting out of the building sucks.
Oh
If
yeah.
you have if you have if you've been to WrestleMania trying to like get out of the building, getting in your car, getting back to the hotel, like that's an ordeal. I know it doesn't seem like it's like a huge thing to think about, but that alone can be like a bit of a burnout. Anyways, who cares about that? Because WrestleMania just happened. We're not going to be on here for too long. We don't have a
No.
ton of time to talk about all this stuff. But what a moment to be able to see the fans back in the crowd. I got so pumped up to see people just like smashing beers and enjoying some wrestling.
See,
Hell
that's
yeah.
cool. That's the atmosphere that I miss. I miss the live atmosphere. I miss being turned up with my boys, first or second row, just going crazy. Because if I'm past third, it's a nosebleed, so I ain't going. If it's that type of
You're
party,
such a snob.
I've been spoiled by World Wrestling Entertainment. Not gonna lie, So the last 7 years in a row, that's what I was doing. But I think the fan experience is the magical part, and that's why the WWE universe is so good. I mean, come on, the pop for the first match, which was the WWE Championship match. Did you hear the reaction that came out? It was just like, I missed it. I got goosebumps thinking like, oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Like, you don't get many firsts in this business, right? You
No.
don't get many firsts. So to get your first pop back from a live crowd in a WWE ring, that's huge. That's huge.
Huge. You get like those goosebump moments. I mean, even from the very beginning of the show when you've got Vince come walking out, Vince being Vince doing his thing. We'll leave it at that. Um, to have him come out, but to have like the whole roster out there with him, and the one person that I kept seeing, not just because she was on my show on Thursday, which you guys can check out, RL Sessions,
Plug.
but Rhea Ripley, seeing her out there, you could see her really absorbing that moment. You could see the tears in her eyes. You could see it's been a long year for everybody. you know, so to have all the superstars up there on the stage and being able to like see actual faces again and to feel that palpable energy, I mean, that is, you know, that's a huge deal. You know what else is a huge deal?
What's a huge deal?
Cesaro winning his first singles matchup at
Oh,
WrestleMania.
bro,
My
insane.
guy.
Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. So, okay, so some quick background. If you are a independent professional wrestling fan, you saw a man named Tyler Black go against Claudio Castagnoli at AAW Pro 8 years ago, right? 8 years later, they finally do it in a WWE ring. Now they faced each other before, but it's been in tag matches and just like all these like weird little run-ins. But to see these two at the top of their game in their prime take on each other, you ain't never gonna get the best of the best. To me, that's the most purest wrestling match of the evening.
But the girls were great. I couldn't be more happy for them. I thought that Sasha's gear looked amazing.
Shout out to
I was
Sarat.
obsessed. I don't know if Sarat did that.
It has to be a Sarat original, right?
It's not always. It's not
Ooh,
always.
okay.
But absolutely amazing. Okay, you know what else we have to talk about is Bad Bunny. Oh my God.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you
So,
something.
okay, go ahead.
The entire now I'm all about storyline and build up, right? And night one really didn't have outside of maybe like Cesaro and Seth. It was Bad Bunny, Miz and Morrison and Damian Priest. That was probably the storyline of the year for me in how they built it up because it was so detailed from start to finish. And there was so like the lead-in was real. It was so good starting, and he's probably the longest reigning 24/7 champion we have.
Sure, as he should be. I mean, listen, when you've got somebody like Bad Bunny who has a gigantic platform of his own, he's able to take the 24/7 championship on to Saturday Night Live. He shows up to TV tapings. This is like a huge global superstar. No pun intended, but somebody like Bad Bunny, he should be the 24/7 champion because he is bringing those eyes to the product. He's somebody that obviously wants to be there. He absolutely crushed that Canadian destroyer. Good God Almighty.
He went to the top, right? So he did that, killed it
Mhm.
on the top, right? Then he hits that Canadian destroyer, and I'm like, dude, are you been training? Are you been at the PC putting some work in?
Big time. Like no fooling around. And you know, that's something that I've kind of heard like the rumblings of that as well from like, you know, people at WWE of like, no, like dude like really wants to like he wants to be there, he wants to put in the time. So kudos to him. And now he got that big mania moment. And I think that, you know, it takes two to tango, takes four to tango in this situation.
Listen, you need a really good dance partner to make your stuff look even better, right? So you have guys like Damian Priest who can work, right? John Morrison, probably one of the greatest bump and feed guys in the last 15 years, right? Miz, like him, love him, hate him, loathe him, whatever. He knows how to wrestle that WWE entertaining style, and
Sure,
he knows how to
he
get
is like the
somebody over.
quintessential WWE superstar.
To me, he's
Fits
perfect.
that mold. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I even like the small adjustments that they've made to Damian Priest's NXT character on the main roster. Because when you looked at Damian Priest on NXT, he was just this mysterious, tall, good looking dude in leather with a deep commandeering voice. And
Sure.
that was it. And now you partner him with Bad Bunny, and now he's way more flamboyant. He shows a range of personality, but yet at the same time too, he's still playing that heater, like that
Yeah.
traditional, I'm going to watch your back and I'm going to kick somebody in the face.
Yeah.
And they've just been beautiful bedfellows together. So
I'm
Ms.
glad that they
Morrison
found that
together.
out. Like it was really I'm glad that they've been partnered up together and that it's worked out the way that it has. And yeah, what a night. What a
Yeah.
night for Bad Bunny. Who knew that he was gonna crush it so well? Like it was absolutely amazing. And okay, so sorry, going back to Cesaro really quickly, he got in 32 swings tonight. He said it was going to be 37 on the podcast, so you know, 5 short, but we'll give it to him. So just had to get that up there. And also that like new like corkscrew
Oh, the
splash
UFO.
thing.
It's called the UFO.
No, that Seth did.
Oh, that thing is insane.
Yeah, that was wild. The UFO was also amazing, but no,
I
I'm
mean,
talking about Seth's corkscrew
I love
splash
when
thing.
I love when they brought like when he brought out like because that the swing and the UFO are super indicative of babyface
Mhm.
Claudio Castagnoli
Yeah.
ROH, right? And then he would drop his hands and Seth is spinning on his shoulders, and it's just the athleticism that Cesaro has is just super impressive. And Rollins himself, the man can do any move. And I
Here's my
love
question. Here's my question to you.
that.
Who is the better all-around athlete? Cesaro or Bianca Belair?
Ooh, I mean, I don't know if Cesaro can jump over those hurdles like Bianca did, or throw a shot put or a javelin.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I right. I think
We've just not seen him in that playground. He might be able to do it. What can't Claudio do?
right. So I don't know. I'm pwned right now. I don't know. Do I say that the Ist is the better athlete in this, or do we say, hey, maybe one time you guys come on, we go on the Oral Sessions YouTube, we come on the Volume YouTube, and you guys do a triathlon,
That would be
and
amazing.
we say who's the Istest of the Ist.
I would love for them to do that, but I feel like their bodies cost a lot more money than what we can offer them to come out to do something like that. I don't think they're going to do that as like volunteer work as much as I would love them to.
I would love to see Claudio throw a shot put.
I bet I would like to see him throw a javelin. I bet he would absolutely nail that. Okay, the cage match between Braun and Shane O'Mac. Shane taking crazy bumps as per usual. As I tweeted, I will just reiterate it again. He's too rich to be doing this shit. Yet here we are again and again, year after year, ever since we saw the return of Shane. What was it, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago? We saw
It was
6 years ago. So amazing, great, but like, dude, what is the line for Shane? When does he stop?
Line. There is no line. The line, honestly, if we could be transparent as hell here, the line is when he gets hurt.
Sure.
Like when he's carried out on a stretcher. But I think even then he rolls off the stretcher and jumps off something even bigger.
I don't get what the drive is. I mean, I know that he loves the business and I know he loves being in there, and I know he wants to like prove himself time and time again. But like, dude, we get it. We get it. We see it. We know. Right. We got you.
But listen, I thought it was a cool match. I like the build between him and Braun, and you know, I think Braun needed something because it's
Braun looks like $1 million too.
He looks good, but it's been quiet.
Ripping the cage was cool.
Feats of strength.
I would like your take on the men's tag match tonight. Your boys New Day dropping the titles.
Oh.
Dun dun dun.
I mean, as you know, I like to call myself the 7th or 8th unofficial member of the New Day. So do I think they were perfect to get over a debuting Omos at WrestleMania? Absolutely. Like, I don't know who else it could have been. They made him
hell
look
of a sell from Xavier Woods.
That's what I'm talking about. Even
Beautiful.
the choke slam pickup from Kofi, like they just showed Omos's feats of strength, and I have never seen. I think I texted you about it. I've never seen a hot tag like that before, where it's like the AJ's. I've never seen AJ do that before. Like you get to the hot tag, he comes in, Omos cleans house, does what he does, bing bang boom, up and down, big guy shit, 1, 2, 3, and you're looking at new WWE Tag Team Champions.
Crazy.
And now
I will say that I'm a sucker for a title change at Mania. I love it.
Me too. And now this completes the cycle for AJ Styles. He's held every single championship in the WWE. He is now an official Grand Slam champion. He's been United States champion. He's been WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, and now he's a Raw Tag Team champion.
Hell yes. I did not realize that. Congratulations to AJ Styles, one of the absolute best to ever lace up a pair of boots. And on to the next. Hey, maybe we can get him on the pod, you think? Uncle Alan, you want to come on, hang out?
I would love. He's a good brother. He's a good brother.
He is a good brother.
He's a good brother. I think we
have access. Well,
we do.
Let's send out some feelers to try to get Uncle Alan on the show.
I'd love to get Uncle Alan.
The message.
I love how you call him Uncle Alan too.
Everyone calls him Uncle Alan. It's either that or Malibu Al.
I know.
Malibu Al or Uncle Al. Yeah, it's the two of those. Okay, so I cannot believe that Drew McIntyre did not win tonight. I cannot believe that they kept the title on Bobby Lashley. I did not see that coming at all. I thought it was going to open up, feel good moment. Everyone talked about, man, like, cool, Drew McIntyre finally got his moment last year in front of nobody. And then this year I thought was going to be his big moment to get that big pop from the crowd, and no can do.
Well, what's the bigger moment though? Is it the bigger moment is when nobody's watching and now everybody's so fixated on every single move? What's going on with the match, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's going against Brock Lesnar because it's Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean?
That was a
So
good Heyman.
thank you. I've been practicing for this moment. So everybody's more dialed into this as opposed to, yeah, now you have the crowd as that cushion. So if it's not the best match, then the crowd can be there and they can just turn up and get litty, right? So
Yeah,
I
that's true.
so I think like, he's had a really good run as WWE champion, not once but twice. He was in an incredible program with Randy Orton all
Yeah.
summer. And
Yep.
then the guy took on all comers from April to September. He was just a Mack truck,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a nice switch. I like to see when the heels go over because now it gives something Drew to do. Drew is so over that you want Drew to chase. So having Drew chase the championship and having Bobby kind of be like, I still want the bounty on him. Even though I'm a big guy, I could probably play off and kind of be chicken shitty
Right.
a little bit. I can have MVP talk all this smack because now we put him to sleep and he didn't tap. So both of them look even more
Yeah, it
incredible.
was everyone was protected with that finish
It was a
100%.
smart finish. And if
Yeah.
you were to create two professional wrestlers in a creative professional wrestler factory, I don't think aesthetically it gets better than Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre.
True. It could, yeah, you can't argue that. They both look like they've been made in factories with the special little magic sauce of Vince McMahon.
Sprinkles
Just
right on top.
sprinkle that magic dust.
Just doing big guy Hoss stuff, which I
That's a
love.
big guy. Actually, I was just gonna say that guy's big, which is a classic Booker T thing. I'm kind of pissed at Booker T to not get involved with Bad Bunny. I know Booker T never wants to be touched and he doesn't want to get in the ring and do that, but I thought maybe for a Mania payday, just like jump in there. And once Morrison kind of taunted him with that one spinneroonie, I thought maybe it might happen, but
I wanted to see like that spinneroonie kick that he does,
yeah.
and then just go about the day and just be Booker T and get your stuff in.
Booker's the best. And the last thing I guess that we need to talk about here, because I think that we've covered all of the matches. Oh no, two things I want to talk about. One, hell yeah, congratulations to Natty and Tamina. Could not be more excited for them to be going back to back. If there are two women who have been busting their asses for years, especially somebody like Natty, who I mean, I can talk about Natty's accolades or what her accolades should be till I'm blue in the face, but the fact that she is getting this moment for somebody who's like truly been one of the women to lay the groundwork for the women's evolution, it's cool to see her be able to work two nights in a row, her and Tamina together. I think it's really great. I love that. I mean, the tag turmoil stuff was fun. Get the good characters popping in and out. I thought everyone looked like $1,000,000. Mandy and Dana, I was obsessed with their gear and the long blonde hair, like that pink Barbie doll look. I thought it was great. Riot Squad looked great. Carmella and Billy Kay. I wish we got to see a little more from them tonight. They made it past one round into the second, and that was about it. But yeah, it was cool. I'm looking forward to seeing Shayna and Nia against Tamina and Natty tomorrow night.
Carmella's gear was crazy too.
Always.
Like
You always know she's going to pull out something amazing.
never not on point, man. Just so good. I mean, everybody was good. I really wanted to see Ruby and Liv do it because I don't think we've seen Ruby wrestle in a really long time. It's got to
We've
be a
we've
couple
only
of
seen a
months.
shred of what Ruby's even capable of too. I mean, she's someone that's like she's very good. She's, really well respected amongst all of the women in the locker room. And she puts in all that work. So I feel like we've only seen little shreds of what we can actually get from Ruby Riot.
But yeah, you're right though. Big shout outs to Tamina and Natty. Tamina's been there for an extremely long time
Yeah.
and has never held a WWE championship. So I think the time is now. And that's crazy to me because she's always been one of those utility players that could come off the bench and give you whatever you need.
Yep.
So if you need somebody to be the stoic just heater, she got you. If you
And
want
it's
really
cool because she doesn't really have to be a heater with Natty.
no, she don't because Natty is so good. I mean, she
Yeah.
comes from probably one of, if not the greatest wrestling dynasty in all
The.
of
I would
the
say the.
history. I
Yeah.
might have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I think she's fantastic. She is so good that I can see Natty working a dude and just like literally
Yeah.
putting him in something that Stu Hart probably showed her in childhood and
100%. Some
stretching
kind
a
of
guy out
yes.
screaming in agony.
Yep.
Like So
I always think of, when I think of like just how good Natty is, I this always pops in my head of John telling me one time when they were in Japan doing a tour when he was with WWE, and it was when Asuka was kind of first brought up to the main roster, and Natty had not really worked her before, and they had to go out and they basically just like had a shoot match, and he's like, I've never seen Natty be better. She like works so good in those moments of just like relying on her actual instincts. She's amazing.
she has great
Unsung hero.
footwork. Exactly. She has great footwork. Her mechanics are so on point. But again, like she can even do some big strong girl stuff too. Like
Hell yeah.
she will lariat you to the throat and will take off
Yes.
your head. Like she's
Yes.
a strong girl.
100%.
She she's fantastic. So I hope that the winds shift tomorrow. If we can read the tea leaves, right? If we can look in the cauldron right now, I
Mhm.
hope we get new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
I think we will. I think we do. We're making the prediction right here. We won't know until we see it tomorrow and you guys listen to this, and we'll see if we look like losers or not. And the last thing I want to talk about was tonight. Was that the most that we are going to see from Bayley, or from Bayley on WrestleMania? Is that the most she's going to be booked?
I hope not. I
Yeah.
hope not. Because I mean, even that little thing that she did tonight, she made her presence felt. And she's a big, big personality.
Yeah.
And you, WWE, yes, you would be doing a disservice to keeping that girl off television in some capacity.
Especially when I think it's a unanimous decision that Sasha and Bayley have been two of the most successful year of the pandemic wrestlers. To not have Bayley have a huge payoff at WrestleMania in some capacity would be a motherfucking shame. If she does not get that moment after the year of busting her ass and changing her character and just, the growth that she has had, that would be a disservice to the entire, it's a bummer for the whole locker room, I think.
Well, listen, let's do it this way. We'll just talk about this briefly, right? She was on SmackDown, she was on Raw, and then she was on NXT. So she was doing everything at one point, her and
Yeah.
Sasha.
Yeah.
So like they were carrying the women's division with the tag team championships. Then they both had women's titles on separate brands. So they were doing their thing and they were always accompanying each other. They were playing well off each other. Did I think that we needed them to
Mhm.
feud? No, I thought that kind of took away from the magic and how good of what they were doing. But I understand in order to split them up,
So
to put
limited.
one-on-one
Yeah, they got
show
to
and
do
you
something.
have to. You have
Yeah.
to. But again, Bayley is so good and she's really coming to her own. And you can listen to the past episode that we did with her, watch it on YouTube, subscribe on, Spotify or iTunes. And listen to talking about how like there was apprehension at first to really do it, but then once she got comfortable in her own skin, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like metaphorical. Once she chopped her hair off, she just started to become more untethered and loose, and she was like, "Let me get comfortable with who I am and where I want this character to go."
Yeah, and I think that she got very comfortable as well of just like, I mean, she's obviously always been so fucking good, but for her to switch into this new character and not have to combat a crowd audience that did to go with the booing and the cheering and blah blah blah, to her owning that character so much now that now working with the crowd, it works already. Like she doesn't have to have that battle. She didn't have that growth spurt in front of having to battle the audience. So I think that just puts her in like that much more of a sweeter spot when she's doing her character stuff now.
Absolutely. I think the pandemic, even though it sucked major ass on many, many fronts, I think for performers, yeah, there was probably a limitation to get used to, working with no crowd. But I think when you do that now, you pick up on the subtle nuance of who you're supposed to
Yes.
be and you follow the beats and the rhythm of what you need to do. And how do I get over now? Because the only way I can gauge it is via social media. So
Mhm.
now I have to do everything. So now my facials have to be on point. The way I move my body has to be on point. What I say, how I act, even the way I dress, like everything has to check
Yeah.
off. And she's very in tune. I mean, she had the greatest stylist in the world in Skinny Nikki. So, she's literally
100%.
Great suit by the kid
He's the
tonight.
mastermind behind the whole thing.
Great
Always.
suit by the kid tonight. Great suit by the kid. I don't know if if you peeped his gram tonight, but great
Agreed.
suit.
I messaged him about it. I was like, you look fresh to death, my friend.
Handsome bastard.
Absolutely
I love him.
crushing it. All right, guys, this is us wrapping up night 1 of WrestleMania. Off to the races. We've got tomorrow night, the Sunday, which Sunday always kind of feels like that's like the true WrestleMania. It's what's ingrained in our little brains. So we'll be reviewing everything for tomorrow night. I don't really need to do much of a wrap up here because it's gonna end up on the cutting room floor. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, welcome night 2 of WrestleMania. So let's just get into it. What a main event. Oh my gosh. There were moments that I literally was about to jump out of my chair. So excited. What an odd finish.
I was going to ask you, did you think that Roman Reigns was going to retain against Daniel Bryan and Edge?
I did. I tweeted that I thought he was going to retain.
See, you're always on point with that because I'm not. I expect a huge change. But
listen, Emilio, I've sat in many WWE production meetings over the years. I know the true ins and outs of that business, listen, when I tweeted that, people are like, oh, what about your talking smack co-host? I'm like, I didn't say who I wanted to win. I said who I thought was going to win. Very big difference. So, I think you look at it, end of the day, Daniel Bryan's not the guy that they're going to want to put over at Mania. They've done it once before. I don't think that they're going to do it again.
No.
And then you see somebody like Edge, who we love Edge. Who doesn't love Edge? But is he the guy to put the strap on at that time? I've never been able to just call it like the strap. I always have to be like the Universal Championship.
It's fun to say the strap, right?
The strap. Yeah. So strap. I figured that it was going to be Roman Reigns, but an interesting move with the double pin. Where do you go from there? Where do you go from a finish like that?
I think it starts right back up for the next set of pay-per-views. That's it. They're both of them will still vie for the Universal Championship. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have these two guys probably battle it out themselves now, and then we'll see some kerfuffle, and then Roman Reigns will probably fight the winner at the next pay-per-view.
Okay, so a couple things that I want to talk about really quickly before we move on to other matches. Just during that triple threat match for the Universal Championship, there was a double spear that looked gnarly as all hell. The double submission from Edge and Bryan into the headbutt off. That was amazing. Those were my highlights, along with the concerto, of course.
Right. And if you look at I love tandem movements. I think it's so good in professional wrestling. And here's a couple of things that I've seen. People have always questioned the validity of how good Roman Reigns is as a professional wrestler, not a sports entertainer. So to see what he did tonight with these guys who are arguably two of the greatest, and you have Daniel Bryan, who is the king of modern indie style wrestling, where you have to give him the crown because he perfected indie style, what you see now. So to see what these guys were doing and how it just ebbed and flowed together so well, it played off beautifully on camera. Agreed. So those were the standout moments for me in my notes as well. Those were the standout moments for me. It's those little subtleties that make it so much more, because you think, all right, could we see a snag here? Are we going to see an upset? No, and then you just slightly kick out, and it's like, whoa, okay, now I'm back in. It was the right amount of falsies. I know I said yesterday.
I agree, because there was a few times I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is the finish. And psych, I love when I get got. I love nothing more than getting got. That's why I love wrestling. I want to get got. I want to be completely invested. I want to take that hook, line, and sinker and fall for it. That's why we all love wrestling, right? I love being caught off guard, or that I've guessed wrong, which I didn't tonight. I did predict that Roman was going to retain. So while we're on the topic of feel good moments here a little bit, Wale and our boy Big E taking on Apollo Crews. We're talking about the Wale and Big E thing, but that's on more of a personal level. For you, for me, knowing the history between those two men, their history within WWE, et cetera,
right.
Add in that layer of Apollo Crews, who, anyone who knows Apollo Crews and can sniff out a great athlete, that guy has got all the juice. He's incredible.
Amazing. So happy for him that he has a singles run with probably my favorite WWE title of all time is the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
But But to talk about this was a long time coming. And I know people use the term, oh my God, I'm crying on social media, right? I'm crying on
Right.
social media.
Sure.
My eyes welled up with a little bit of moisture
So you
because
did actually cry.
oh my God, did I? Yeah. One, I was asked to stay. And it was just, I had too much going on, personal stuff and other stuff. So I couldn't be there for the moment. So I did
Sure.
sappy text messages beforehand, right?
Sure.
Because I know this goes back all the way to WrestleMania 32. Okay.
Okay. That's Dallas.
Where that's Dallas. The first, your memory's so on point, girl.
It's because I don't drink anymore because I'm pregnant, so my brain works a little bit better.
Swing a Diet Coke for the pregnant broad. So
Have some water.
right. So it was supposed to originally happen then, where they were supposed to do like this really cool New Day, Wale, WWE entrance, right? It was proposed, right? So then, the think tank, Wale gets on the phone with his think tank, me and Kazim, big shout outs to Kaz.
Hey,
And
Kaz.
and we're starting to plot out some really cool stuff. Last minute, you know how it is. It happens, things change. Keep it moving. So it always stayed in the back of our heads, like, yo, let's continue to manifest this because this will happen. And then you fast forward now, and the universe finally played catch up to what our thoughts were,
Mhm.
and here we are. And not only is it for Big E, but it's his hometown entrance, which is
Yes.
huge this year.
That was actually honestly something that I forgot about until the announcers brought it forward. And I was like, oh my God, of course, he's from Tampa. Duh.
Hometown kid going in as Intercontinental Champion. He's got this beautiful vignette package that plays how it's his city. Apollo, you just taking it over. This ain't your nation. This is my house. This is where I am. This is where I grew up. These are my roots. And then he comes out. Wale starts to show. Big shout outs to DJ Money starting it off.
CM Punk's in on our little session here. What up, Phil?
Dude,
Phil's in the house. Can we get him to call in? Punk, can you call us in? Because I would like to hear your perspective
I would
on all
love that.
that happened at WrestleMania.
Love
Give us a call. Hit that FaceTime. Actually, wait, that won't work. You'd have to like Zoom us.
But
Should I
yeah.
Zoom?
Ooh. Could we give him the Zoom? Could we send him the Zoom?
There's no way he's gonna join.
No.
But I would like you to.
I'm trying to hijack. Well,
you
come
are.
on and come and hijack.
It's effective. You're in here.
We'd love to know some opinions. Yeah.
How about that boot to the face that Sheamus got on Riddle?
I thought I saw a molar pop out. Like, that's how good he is with his feet sometimes. And, a lot of people write off Sheamus. Like, yeah, okay, his runs have been done. You fill him in. You just let him be the baddie when he needs to be the baddie. Or sometimes he's just a baby face just to move momentum and keep a storyline going. But I think what's the really cool thing is he's really solidified himself in the WWE and really gave himself a place in professional wrestling. Yeah. Now he completes the cycle. He's the Grand Slam champion. He's held everything in WWE. The United States Championship was the first championship that he needed, and that's it. It's done now.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, these guys tore it up.
They fight forever.
Would we say that this was maybe match of the night?
For tonight, a match, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely was match of the night. Yeah. I think they know each other so well. It starts at Ring of Honor and it comes all the way here.
18 years they've known each other.
And they have done this each time differently. Some like the build was a little odd this one, because it starts with the haluva kick when KO is commentating, and then it just snowballed from there. But I like the fact that they can turn it on and fight with no real just cause at any time, because you already know
there's such a built-in story between the two of them, no matter what. And I love that was it. Not that I would say that it was like a last minute addition to WrestleMania, but kind of figuring out where that was going to go, what Sami Zayn was going to be doing. I mean, his character has evolved so incredibly well.
So good.
When we talked to him on the podcast a couple weeks ago and him just talking about kind of being in that driver's seat of his character, and he's earned the trust of the brass of WWE to really kind of navigate this character and be a little bit more free flowing in his speeches and promos and whatnot. So really cool to see that. I love that Logan Paul ate a stunner. Something had to happen there. That dude had to eat one, like it or not. But
it's also really cool for the annals of pop culture now as well, because I think, the Pauls are just so ingrained in that YouTube culture thing, that clip, and there's going to be reaction videos to that. So it also opens up Kevin Owens to an entirely completely different world who
Sure.
may not have followed professional wrestling. And also now they might say, well, who is this guy? What is he
Yeah.
doing? And then, oh, then you see all this cool stuff that he's done. He dives off shit. He stuns shit. He loves animals. He's a good guy. He could speak English and Canadian so
You know what
well.
else I want to bring
I like
forward?
him.
I mean, yeah, all of those things, 100% check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. He's doing all of those things. What I really enjoyed from Kevin yesterday was the beginning of the show. They had the weather condition issues, so they stretched for like 40 minutes, which
Yeah.
during a live broadcast to stretch for 40 minutes is a long time. So they were like backstage, back to the commentators, Cole's in a poncho, Joe's in a poncho, all the stuff that's happening. But when they cut to Kevin Owens doing his promo, that's one of those things that Kevin Owens shines at. He's a great
Yeah.
promo, and you could tell that was like one of those moments that was like really from the heart from him, of like not only like, yeah, we're at WrestleMania and cool, I'm gonna fight Sami Zayn, but giving that history of where the two of them, fighting in armories in front of 20 people to where they're at now. It just this story between those two it's so impressive. It's really cool.
Yeah. Here's the thing I think with that too. I think if you give a guy like that an open microphone and just say, hey, we need time to fill, hit the bullet points and do what you need to do. I think it'll be more touching. And I think it's a special moment there as well, because how many times you get to say, I wrestled one of my dear friends at the biggest stage of them all. Like, yeah, we've done it in armories for less than 20
The
people.
showcase of the immortals, if you
Now we're
will.
doing it there.
We're doing it
Mm.
there. So kudos to them. Now, two more things that we need to run down before we get out of here. Three, because I don't want to end on a sour note. So, one sour note. What happened with this Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton thing? It was a little what was that?
I think the entire, like, since they came back with the Fiend character and he busts out from underneath the ring and he's all melty or whatever, I just think it's been completely, it's slow. It's not really moving anymore. I think like
Right.
the camera tricks have ran its course. I think the feud has ran its course. If he's not gonna
Well,
come back and wrestle, like real deal wrestle, like how we were seeing it before, uh,
yeah.
I think it's time to pack it in. I don't know, like, where do you go with the
You do.
character like this?
Like
Like where?
it's
Where?
what is it leading to, Alexa versus Bray Wyatt? Like what happened there at the end?
See, yeah, I see again. Like, does that happen now? Is it Sister Abigail versus the Fiend? And can we
Looks that
call
way
her
to me.
Sister Abigail? Is she possessed by Sister Abigail? Does
That's a
Randy
very
Orton have to
valid
do?
point. I don't
Does
know.
Randy Orton have to do some sort of exorcism to
Oh, I
get
would
like?
like that. I love an exorcism. Exorcism movies are some of my favorite. I would enjoy that
When was the
actually.
last time we had an exorcism on WWE? Was it the Ministry of Darkness back in the day?
I it's been a while. They're due. Everything comes back around full circle at one point or another.
Right,
Every
everything's
time.
sexy again.
So we don't really know what happened there. I mean, you want to talk Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. Of course, they're all three of them as individuals are amazing competitors. This just seemed a little bit like, what are we trying to get over right now?
Right, like, it's very convoluted to the point where, okay, we have this arcing storyline going. It kinda could date back, even if you wanna go with the what was that Bayou Swamp match at SummerSlam 2
Sure,
years
sure.
ago, where you started to see her pop in, and it was Bray versus Braun, and now you fast forward now and how the character, whatever Alexa Bliss is doing, I'm just gonna call her Sister Abigail for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
She's there,
Sure.
right? And then she starts to, you take Bray off TV for a while because he has to. Then a mere 6 weeks later, Randy Orton, after about 24 hours, his burns heal. He has no mask no more. So that comes off. And now he comes out in his big money white gear tonight. And it's like, okay, this has to be the blow off. This has to be the finish. Like, does the Fiend Abigail, like, boom, 1, 2, 3, it's got to be over, right? No. And then
Yeah.
it doesn't. Now you add this again. Where does it go? Why are we still here? Like, do you propose another character? Are we starting a new stable? Like, are we bringing in somebody else? Where's Bo Dallas? What are we
Where
doing?
is Bo Dallas? What
I
is
can tell you
Bo
where Bo Dallas.
Dallas? Do you know
I
where
can
Bo
tell you where
Dallas
I
is?
can tell you where Bo
Is he
Dallas
just
is.
living happily on a farm somewhere?
I think that's what he's doing. He's growing his own vegetables and just
Great.
hanging out and living the dream.
It sounds
Living the
lovely. That
dream.
actually sounds really nice. And then for the women's tag match, I'm honestly a little bit gutted that Natty and Tamina did not win the titles tonight. It seemed like the perfect time to have to have titles change hands. It did not go that way.
I
And
mean,
I don't know why. I don't really understand why, because it's, as much I love Nia and I love Shayna, they're fantastic. This is not a personal thing, but like it would have been a perfect time to change hands.
I think what they're doing, maybe from a television standpoint, is just really good. So why break it up right now? Maybe we see a switch this coming
Tomorrow.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can see it on Monday and then you can see it on Friday. So you really don't know. And
Yeah.
as
Right.
tag team champions of the women's division, they have to go to both shows.
Yeah.
So
Of
you don't
course.
know what you're going to see. So maybe we
Yeah.
get a surprise. Maybe they felt like, you know what? Maybe we don't want to do too many title switches. And they really didn't do it. We had what tonight? Women's championship,
Apollo.
United States, and IC. So three's a lot.
Three is a lot. You're right. That is a lot.
Like
Yeah.
that's a lot. And then what? Last night was just the tag team championship. So,
Yeah.
that's I think, four title changes in 2 nights. That
I know,
really
and SmackDown Women's Championship changed too.
that's true. So now you really changed the infrastructure of television for the next couple of weeks. And I think it was the perfect amount of title changes because you have to have some guys retain. And plus at the end of the day, we
Of
got to see Michael
course.
Cole and Samoa Joe in ponchos. It's a win
Goddamn
overall
right
for
we did.
television.
You're damn right we did. And Rhea Ripley, huge congratulations to
Yes.
her. We just had her on the show. You guys can go back and listen to that episode
It's on YouTube
on
too.
Oral Sessions. It's on YouTube. You can see the whole thing. So those women, as we knew it was going to be hard hitting, it just felt right to see Rhea holding on to that Raw Women's Championship. So that was a great feel good moment. But that one couldn't have been screwed up one way or the other, because whether Asuka retained or Rhea went over, I think either way people would have been happy. You want to root for both of those women. We
Yeah,
know we know how great both of them are individually. So for them to have this storyline, I don't know what Rhea's going to go into next.
Well, I think that's
this,
the
but
beauty of it. It's your first title reign, right? So you only get one, and it's really special now too because
Mhm.
they had to write, quote unquote, the storyline wrong of what
Yeah,
happened at last year's WrestleMania down at the PC. So
right.
now it's like you kind of soft rebooted Rhea Ripley, and
Mhm.
she came back and she looks like
She
$1 million.
looked so good. She looked so good.
Great makeup, great entrance, gear was popping. Her new
Hair
jacket that
looked
she made
fresh as
herself.
all hell.
On
Yeah.
point, on point. Sister was
Very
on
good.
point. So big shout outs to her. She did it. I
Yeah.
hope now that she doesn't live in her head like she was living, she said for the past year. Now
Yeah.
just
Now she
like
can
go in
get
the
out.
back and breathe and let's see where it goes. I think a really good program to avenge the L would be against Charlotte Flair. I think that would be really good.
I mean, that's the thing that makes the most sense, right?
I'm all for it. Or if Becky Lynch comes back on Monday Night Raw.
For the love
Technically,
of God.
Becky, if you want to say she is still the uncrowned women's champion because she
Because she
did give it up.
forfeited the title to Asuka. Yeah. Yeah.
How
Well,
soon?
but
How soon
I don't
ago
even
was
know.
that?
What's
Was
that?
that before? Was that after us? The night after WrestleMania?
When she
What night
relinquished
was?
the title?
Yeah, last year was that the night after WrestleMania?
No, it was
It was after a big pay per view, right?
uh it was definitely not after WrestleMania. I don't think. No, because I was at TV. I was at TV when it happened and I was not at WrestleMania. I did all that stuff from home. So it would have been a different time from that, just on like my own time frame of when that happened. I feel like it happened in like May or something.
It was after Money in the Bank. Someone in the chat on the
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Instagram
You
said it was
guys
after Money in
always
the Bank.
know. You guys always know. Thank
You
you.
guys know stuff.
Y'all are smart. So yeah, having Becky return and I mean having all of her little teases throughout the week have been amazing too. Little shit had us all going for it.
She's
Little
great at
brat.
that though. She's done that like on 2 different
She is good
occasions
at
now.
it. Yeah,
She's
she's
done
really
that on
good
two
at
different
it.
occasions.
By the way, I didn't hate the stuff with the twins and Bayley tonight. It was a little something something.
I thought that was a real cool highlight.
Hulk Hogan try to do the Bella Twins booty dance. Yipey dipies.
Yipey dipies for real. But you know what I like the most?
What?
He got booed every time he opened his mouth.
All right. I feel like we've effectively covered all of night 2 of WrestleMania. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Instagram Live. We got our stuff together and you could hear us. Thank God.
Tell them where to follow us.
Oh, guys, you can follow us. I mean, if you're on here, you're already following Volume, I would imagine. Follow the Volume Sports. Follow me. Follow Emilio Sparks. We drop the podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We already have some great interviews in the can. I've got some other ones lined up. Also, some extra special stuff coming up for when I go on maternity leave. So hold on to your cute little butts.
You're gonna love it.
There's some really cool shit happening when I go on maternity leave, but like not cool enough that like you won't miss me.
Right. And this
Not
podcast
that
airs.
cool, but
Oh,
like kind of cool.
I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you.